Welcome back to another inspiring podcast episode of She Decides. I'm your host, Staci Swiderski, and in this episode, I had the privilege of speaking with Courtney Stanfield, a veteran Canadian TV broadcaster, mom of three, and the visionary behind the groundbreaking Air Out app. Courtney's mission is bold yet beautifully simple: to change how we process overwhelming emotions by offering a safe, anonymous space where people can express themselves freely without fear and without judgment. From her years in broadcasting to her role as a mother and now as a pioneer in mental wellness, Courtney opens up about the power of unfiltered self-expression. She reveals how letting our emotions out can cut through the noise, lighten the weight we carry, and help us reset with clarity. Together, we explore the intersection of mental wellness and leadership, the courage required to bring an innovative idea to life, and why judgment-free spaces are essential in today's world. Because when she decides to turn challenges into opportunities, she builds solutions that help others find clarity, strength, and a new way forward. Welcome, everybody, to our next episode of She Decides. I am your host, Staci Swiderski, and I am here with Courtney Stanfield. She is a Canadian, so exciting, TV broadcaster. You're a mom of three, a mental wellness visionary, and you are the founder of the Air Out app. So this is going to be a really intriguing and exciting episode. I can't wait to hear more about it. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And if, we have one person feeling a bit better by the end of this podcast, then I'll feel like I would have done my job. So
absolutely. It's all about goals, right? One person, yes. And that's all that matters, right? More is great, but one is a beautiful thing, a beautiful start, right, to the day. So let's talk about let's go into your app. Let's talk about your app. What is it all about, and what inspired you to open this and start this app?
So it is a completely anonymous chat space. It's basically a void, a dumping ground where we can put all of our thoughts, feelings, emotions that are weighing us down without anybody knowing it's you, anybody making you feel bad, judging you, or being able to comment. There actually is no way to even interact with other users, which is a big change from what we typically do see with a lot of social media. This is not social media. This is really a tool to cut through the mental and emotional clutter, because what we don't say, we store in our bodies, and that will manifest as physical ailments. We will feel it in our bodies, in our minds. We will slowly start to crumble under the weight of that. It's just energy that wants to be let out. So when we have a space where we can actually just say what's raw and real without anybody holding it against us, we actually can open up that channel. We can release that energy out of our body, and we can start to feel lighter, start to feel better. So it really is a place just to offload anything and everything, nothing too small, in the heat of the moment, everyday annoyances, in relationships, love, work, life, whatever it may be.
Wow. So it's really it's like a safe space, right? It's like a safe space to where it's like non-invasive in terms of, like you said, people don't have accessibility to comment back. So how often and how many times can the users use this, and who's seeing it? Because are others seeing the actual, I guess, the post, if you will?
Yes.
But if you don't have access to comment, how does all of that work?
So there are 6 different spaces for moms, dads, not just for moms and dads, anyone with a mom or dad. There is the workspace, love, brag, and vent. So within those categories, the last 100 entries you can read. It's very minimalist, very old school internet. It's just text-based. There aren't even usernames. So when you sign up, we don't want to know your name. We don't want to know anything about anonymous. You can sign up with any random email you want. You could make a new email account to sign up for the app if you're worried about it. But we don't care where you are, what you look like, how much money you have, your status, none of it. This is the raw and real aspects of being a human. And so there is absolutely no way of knowing it's you. but you can read the last 100 posts in every chat before they disappear forever. So while it is one directional in the sense that we're not commenting and liking, which is such a refreshing change, which we can get into because a lot of people push back on me for that. And they say, well, what's the point of expressing yourself if you don't have
Well, I
people
like the
talking
fact that
back?
it's yeah, and I like the fact that that's different in that sense because people can get so sucked into the weeds by reading the comments, and then it can
Exactly.
totally filter your whole idea of what you even initially posted about, and then you feel even worse after you read all the comments.
Exactly. And there are enough
Sometimes better, but
platforms, often worse. Yes, and
often worse. Yes.
you regret ever opening up in the first place. And you could take that to Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter. There's endless examples where if you're looking for that conversation, you want that feedback, but you have to be prepared for that feedback also because it will make you
Right.
feel worse a lot of the time. So in this sense, it's really refreshing because you get the release. You get to say things as they are when they come up without anybody actually countering it. And for a lot of people, that's the first time in their lives where they felt safe to actually express. I mean, even in real life, if you invite someone in, like a friend or a colleague, into something that you're going through, or you're just venting heat of the moment, you may not even mean it, but in that moment, you just need to say it. That outside person won't forget. You'll move on, but they won't. And so there's always going to be this
Yeah.
remaining sort of judgment when in reality, you didn't want advice, you didn't want feedback, you just wanted to say the thing and get it off your
And
chest.
9 out of 10 times, somebody's going to have a reaction and say something, whether it's good, bad, they agree, disagree, or whatever.
Totally. And then you have the weight of
Yeah.
that. And so we often withhold expressing ourselves for that very reason, because we don't want to be made to feel worse. We don't want someone judging us. So we're walking around really censored. And if we do open up to someone, it's like little tidbits of the truth. It might be like, oh, I'm having a really hard time with my kids, or, I'm not like loving it right now. But in reality, you want to scream, I wish I never became a mom. This was a terrible decision. Whether that's true or not, tomorrow or 10 minutes from
That's
now,
how they're feeling in the moment.
in this moment right now, you are valid in that experience. And if you don't say it, then you're going to store it, and then you're going to start looking around at everyone else thinking, oh, well, motherhood seems to be coming more naturally to them, and they seem to be having a better time, and why aren't they feeling like this? And you're going to feel even worse, when in reality, all we needed to do was face that thought head on, a tough thought in a tough moment. Our thoughts are just connected to our emotional state. So totally understandable, when we are overstimulated and overwhelmed, we're going to have these strong thoughts. And if we can just say them, express them as they are, we don't carry them, and we can move on with our lives.
It's kind of like the modern way of the old school diary almost, right? Where you can write your thoughts down without receiving any input. But
Yes.
they probably feel like it's more of a, like you said, a safe space because really nobody's going to attack them or see them or stumble across their diary or whatever it may be because it's
Exactly.
completely anonymous.
I do like to say that it's like a modern Dear Diary moment, except for a fact
Yeah.
your like younger siblings never gonna find it.
Right,
Remember
right.
that?
You got
Trying
that
to
little
hide
lock
it.
and key.
Exactly. But and we know journaling is powerful. We like the studies on
Oh,
journaling have
yeah.
been around for decades. It's
Yeah.
moving energy, right? Like you're expressing even through writing. And it's the very same thing when you use the app. But in order to journal, you need time and space. And a lot of us are living really busy lives. And by the time we get to the end of the day and we sit down and we can journal, so much of what we went through, we have forgotten about. We haven't even processed it, but we're
It's already
carrying
fogged
it.
out. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly. So this is
absolutely.
like in the moment, 24/7, quick and easy. It's only 100-character limit. So not the huge long paragraphs. It is to the point, and it's quick and effective. So you can use it in line at the grocery store. You can use it while you're talking to your boss and you don't like what they're saying. Just nod along and roast
You
them
just
in
need a
the app.
vent.
Yes, you can do it while you're sitting beside your partner, and the sound of their breathing is making you insane. You can do it while you're with your kids and you want to scream and run away. Any place, anytime. So it's taking that powerful concept of journaling and having a diary, but making it more accessible, even more anonymous, and easier.
Wow. So how many right now, how many users about are on the app?
We only launched in January, so we are the new kid on the block. We're new in
Yeah.
town here, but we're on the Apple Store and
Okay.
Google Play. And I actually don't look at the numbers. It's just a thing for me because I don't really care. I live in the
It's
app
your
and I
own
love
safe
the app.
space, right?
Yes, and I can tell when there are fresh voices and new people there, and that is what I live for. But right now, I'd probably
Yeah.
guess I don't know, up 1,500, 2,000, maybe.
Oh, nice. Nice.
But again, I don't look because I don't like to. I just like to see the energy of the
Right.
app. And when I see new voices and I'm like, yes, this is it. This is working. I know this person feels better because they just said that.
Well, that was going to be my next question as far as the feedback. What type of feedback have you been receiving from the users? And do they ever mention how often do they use it?
So it's really funny that a lot of people tell me they love to read it because in reading the other posts, they realize that they are not alone. They thought a lot of these, dark, scary, shameful thoughts, especially around motherhood, where we're supposed to embrace it and love it every second,
Very judgy.
very judgy. They're feeling like they're not alone, and how refreshing it is to think, oh, wow, someone else has a raw thought like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I encourage people to use it. So reading it, yes, is cool. And it's amazing that we can build this sense of community without any interaction. But the power is in using it. And people will say, well, I normally just keep that stuff inside. I'm like, exactly. Exactly. We're so conditioned to do that. But look at the state of how we are. We're not really connecting. We're not really being real. And it can be scary to be super vulnerable. But when it's 100% anonymous, it doesn't have to be scary. So we can start to open up. We can start to tiptoe more into that vulnerability because we don't have to worry about what people will think. So I just encourage people, it really is a new way of thinking because we're so used to having that mask on and presenting ourselves in a certain way. And it takes a minute to get used to the idea that no one knows your name or your face or where you're from.
Right, right. And I think you made a really valid point that it's not just about using the app to really share your thoughts and your feelings, but reading other people's because you're like you said,
Yes.
you're not alone. And it really, I'm sure it lessens the guilt on a lot of on a lot of those users, especially if it is something that's very, judgy, or like we said about a mom, or parenting skills, or a new mom
Yeah,
that's like, or whatever it is, and they just they feel like they're more, it's more unity, right? It's like, all right, I'm not
totally.
alone in this situation. But on the flip side of that, I think it's really interesting. You had mentioned one of I believe you had said the bragging moments, right? If
Yes.
you want to brag about something. And I think that is really, that's pretty cool. So can you share more about that? Like, what do you see in there about people just want to almost give a shout out to themselves?
Yes.
Without that
Absolutely.
feedback, they're like, hey, I'm proud of myself here. I'm gonna just, rather than say it in the mirror, I'm gonna just throw it out in this app where it's just freeing.
Yes, exactly. And it's just energy, right? So when we talk about moving some of the heavier stuff, some of the honest, raw truths, that's energy in motion too. But the same goes for bragging. What we're doing is creating an environment where we can actually celebrate ourselves. We can release some of that good energy. We can get those endorphins going. And that's by owning it. If you think you're having a great hair day, you're not going to go to work and say, everybody, look at my hair today. I look so
Check this
good.
out.
Did you see my butt in these jeans? Hello. But that's important. When you feel good, you have to own it because it starts to spread. It becomes infectious. And when we see that from other people, we read that from other people, we pick up on it. And then it starts to be okay for us to celebrate the good stuff too. So whether that's, like a fitness goal or sobriety, or maybe you didn't lose your cool when you normally do lose your cool, whatever it is, own it, be proud of it, celebrate it in there because it's just as powerful as having that release of some of the heavier, stronger emotions.
Right, right. And like you had said before, like live in the moment. If you just feel like you have to get it out, like you said, in the line at the grocery store, right? You're at the doctor's office, or your coworker is just chewing so loud, like and you forgot your
Yeah.
headphones that day. And it's like, they just have to like let it out. So how do
Yes.
you feel that that your background in broadcasting really influenced the way that you've built the app.
I'm not sure if it's connected to broadcasting, more so how I grew up, which I think a lot of us were that way, this generation of, if you do say too much or you express yourself, you are, labeled as a problem or dramatic, or, no one wants to hear what you have to say, or I'll tell you something that you can be upset about. And so often we've learned to not express ourselves. But then having, almost 20 years experience in TV, you also see very clearly the front, the superficial front that people are putting on, that everything is together and look what I have going on and I'm polished and perfect and I look good head to toe and I sound good. But that says nothing about what's going on behind the scenes. We can all put on a polished front. I know it firsthand. I have had, a really hard time with my 3 young children, or been in a dispute with my spouse, or been in just a downturn in life. And you go on TV and you put on a nice dress and a smile, and no one's the wiser. But that's not being authentic. That's not being real. And of course you can't go on TV and just, offload your dark thoughts. There's a time and a place, but it teaches us to not open up, to not express, to not sacrifice the image that you have built, to be honest, because people will look at you differently. And that's just not healthy. So at this point in my life now, where I've kind of taken a step away from TV and my focus is my young children, like, it can be really hard some days. Like, they push you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually to places that you've never been before. And with that comes a growing, just like a growing pain. Like, it can be painful along the way, and you can't have it together all the time when you're in a position that you've never been in before. And so it really taught me to green light a lot of those thoughts and feelings, because I didn't think I had anyone to say this to. I love my children more than anything. Let me just make that clear. Sure, they are my best friends, of course. But in those moments, like, it gets real, and I have to be able to say, I don't even like my kids. I married the wrong person. I'm in a dead-end job. I'm not attracted to my spouse. You have to be able to say these things, because otherwise we're just hiding from them and it's not going to work. But if we face them head on and we allow ourselves to detach, so think, wow, that's not actually me. That's a reflection of my emotional state. So if I'm having thoughts like this, I'm probably feeling like I'm being overworked or overstimulated and overwhelmed, right? So look at the quality of your thoughts, and that's going to be a good indicator of where you are emotionally. It's not you, it's just where you're at. So then take it and move it somewhere else, because the whole idea is, when we learn to express ourselves, as trivial as it may be, and in the app, there's fun stuff too, like people, confessing crushes, or, that someone's working at the coffee shop and they're so hot they feel nauseous, or they pretend to go to the gym, like whatever. Like, there's funny stuff in there too. It's like confession secrets.
There's a little humor. Yeah.
One good one you might like, in the brag category, someone was bragging that it had been 30 days since they crept on their ex's profile. Hey, you know what? Let's celebrate that. Okay, that's good.
Right.
But the whole idea is, when we start to let this out, then we start to accept ourselves more. And so we're not judging ourselves based on the thoughts and feelings and emotions we're having. We learn to accept ourselves for where we are. That builds self-trust. That builds self-love, and that brings you closer to your intuition, which is where all of your natural gifts, talents, and joy lie, but it's buried under the noise. So when we can cut through a lot of that mental and emotional clutter, we have a peaceful mind, a relaxed body, heightened intuition, which is actually going to be our guide in life and lead us to what we want to be doing when we want to be doing it, and how to find the joy and the happiness.
Do you find a lot of the users on the app, do they use it several times a day? Like, they're just like, this is how I'm feeling, and they just get it out?
Honestly,
how often?
It's completely impossible to say, because every post looks the same, because there is no username.
It all looks the same.
And so it could be the same person 1,000 times in a row having a day, or it could be
having a rough day,
or it could be 1,000 different people. And that's the beautiful part, is you can't even link the comments together. You have no idea. From where is connected to what. And there's so much
Do you ever use
power
it?
in there. Oh, every single day. every day. And I will tell you something. So
You're like, absolutely.
this is how I know it works, because it works for me. And there is nothing overly unique or special about my situation. I'm a professional. I have young children navigating, the challenges of a very busy chapter in life. And if it works for me, it'll work for someone else. So that's where I think this whole idea came from, is that first of all, it came to me in a dream. So it's not something that I sat down and wrote out on paper and brought to life. It came to me in a dream, and it was so profound. I started emailing app development companies in the middle of the night because I could feel the relief that people would have from just being able to say the stuff. And I was so tired of feeling like I couldn't just say the stuff in the heat of the moment. Why is there so much shame around it? Why is there so much judgment? If I'm fired up, I want to be able to say, whatever's on my mind. But of course, if you say that to people directly in your life, that can cause a lot of damage in your relationships. You can't unring a
Sure.
bell, but you also need to move
Right.
that energy. So where are we left? We either stuff it down, we censor it, or we find a place like this where we just let her go. And I just was so tired of feeling like I couldn't just say it without being made to feel bad.
Right, right. So
So
let's back up a little bit and let's talk about that for a minute. You said this came to you in a dream. And I find that really fascinating and really interesting. And I think for our listeners out there who maybe feel so excited to launch their business, but they're
Mhm.
scared or they don't know if it's really right for them or they don't know how to do it, or maybe they're receiving some negativity, in the background noise and it's just stopping them. So share more about that. You had mentioned it came to you in a dream and you just knew in your heart that this is something you wanted to do. And let's talk about that side of it. Let's talk more about the really amped you up and made you go for it.
Yeah, first of all, none of us know what we're doing. That has become very clear to me. So let's just make that very
Every day is a new
obvious.
day.
Holy imposter syndrome. All of us. And I see that in the app a lot too. Like, if only these people knew, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's a very common feeling. But yeah, I had been asking, like the universe, I thought, like, if I'm feeling so trapped with my own thoughts and my own expression, and like there is no place to go, like someone else has to be feeling this way too. I'm so tired of people telling me, like, oh, this is so wonderful and this is so great. And yeah, it can be 99% of the time, but like 1% it's not. And like, let's move some of
And that
that
could be a
out.
really
Okay.
big knot. That could be a big 1%.
Totally. So
Hmm.
I'd kind of been asking, like, the universe, like, I feel like I have a mission here. I feel like there's something here, like help me out. And then it was March, yeah, 2024. It was so profound. I saw it. I saw the app. I saw what it looked like. I saw how people felt. And then, like I said, I emailed app development companies because this is not my background. Never in a million years did I think I would be here, the creator of an app on Apple Store and Google Play, given my background and given my life. And I wanted to quit 100 times in the last year. Honestly, like, I have enough going on with my family and my own career. I was working
And then you
part-time up
start to
until recently.
then you have the self-doubt, right? You're just like, "Oh, I want to
Totally.
quit." And then, yeah, so what kept
Because
you really pushing forward?
it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time,
Mhm.
it's a lot of energy that I just didn't have. And I would hit these roadblocks, as you do when you're launching a business or you're trying to
Mhm.
create something. There are tons of roadblocks, and those are the ones that often you never see coming and no one tells you about. And you just have to kind of hit them going, 100 miles per hour and try and work
Right?
your way
Yep.
through. But I would just come back to these intuitive moments. And I think I was able to get there because at this point I had allowed myself just to say the things that were on my mind. So I'd already kind of opened that whole channel, right, of how expression can bring us to our
Mhm.
intuition. So I was feeling more intuitive than I had for years. And I just kept having these moments that this app needs to exist. It has a journey, it has a purpose here. And it was more so like I was the shepherd of it, not the creator, not the owner. It was almost like, will you bring this to
Mm.
life? And I agreed. And I just kept along the way, every time I checked in those moments of frustration and doubt and insecurity, like, it was, like I said, a significant amount of money too, that really we
Sure.
could have used for a lot of other things. But I just kept coming back to this concept that, like, it needs to exist. It needs to be here. So now I feel very much like a spectator, like everybody else. Like, it is here, it's a living, breathing entity, and I have no doubt it's going to end up in the right hands, the right people at the right time. And it is so exciting to watch it naturally unfold. So I have almost this detachment from it where I'm not in control. I don't want to be in control, and I just want
Yeah.
to see how it naturally evolves. I almost feel like
Unfolds.
I did my job, if that makes
I was
sense.
gonna, yeah. I mean, definitely, it's got to be such an accomplished feeling, especially you had mentioned the roadblocks, and as founders, we see these roadblocks last minute sometimes, and it's like, all right, and now I
Mhm.
have to navigate this, and I have to navigate this. But then once you literally you see that light at the end of the tunnel, and you
Yeah,
successfully accomplished something, it's such a lifting and a gratifying feeling. And like you
totally.
said, you can now take a back seat in a sense to see where all of this is going to go. And you had to be so proud of yourself for not giving up.
Yeah, and I just kept coming back to too, like, we're only here once, really. Like, and if at the
Hmm.
end of my life, it's almost like if you write a book, whether you self-publish it or you get it published, at the end of my life, I can look
Hmm.
back and think, wow, look what I created. It's not a book, it's an app, but I did this. I did this from a dream. I followed my intuition. Every time I had doubt, I kept showing up. Even still, it's challenging. I mean, this app is built between like snacks and meltdowns and drop offs and pickups and like 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. Like,
Yeah,
it is
2 a.m. in the morning and
it
working on it. And
totally, it is like
yes.
it's been chipped away at a couple minutes at a time. And so I have to be really proud of that and how this came together, and the fact that it is here. And I'll tell you a story. I went to Costco with my little kids, like they're 5, 5, and 4. So this is last year. They were a year younger. And they were like, acting like kids at Costco. Like, I don't know what it is, but they all just go mental when they're there, right? And so, things are overflowing in the cart. Like the kids are
It's very
touching everything.
stimulating.
Yes, I'm getting worked up like it's a whole scene. And then I get out to the van, I just get things unpacked, and my phone rings, and it's Apple. Like, Apple. Who knew that you get phone calls from like Apple? And I was like, talk about imposter syndrome. I had no idea the things they were talking to me about, the things they were asking. It was just like a formality or a security. I still don't even know, just to make sure, like,
And
who's
your
making the
mindset is
app.
not prepared for this at that moment when
No.
you have your 3 children, you're in the car loading them in with all your stuff that you got from
I
Costco.
have the kids like throwing crackers in the van. There's
Comes
a
in
guy
bulk.
with the blinker on waiting to take my parking spot. And I'm like, yeah, I know
And you're
what I'm
trying to
doing.
rush to hurry up. And then ring, ring. Here's Apple on the phone.
Yeah, because, just a casual call from Apple unexpectedly.
Yeah,
That's
what the heck?
cool. Talking to me about development, which again, I have no idea. So there are all these moments where I just go, oh, what am I doing? But I just kept coming back to people need this, and I need it, other people need it. It has made a difference in my life, and I'm just so excited for people to start looking at things differently, looking at their thoughts differently, looking at expression differently, and stop being scared, because that's when the real stuff happens. And especially for the
Yeah.
men too, like in the dad's
Hmm.
chat, there are so many things that have come up in there that these guys don't feel comfortable saying to other
They're not
people.
sharing that with friends or publicly, or I'm sure even a
Yes.
lot of times when people are seeing, say, for example, a therapist, I bet sometimes
Yes.
they're even uncomfortable sharing information with their own therapist. So
Exactly.
they have this amazing app now that they're able to just really get it off of their chest. And like you
Yep.
said, reading other people's to realize that they are not the only ones feeling this way, and it is
Yeah.
okay.
Like, and like one dad in particular, he said that at the end of the long day, he comes home and he doesn't want to be around his kids, and he hates himself for that. or that he always feels like, his needs come last, or he's handcuffed to his job because he feels like it's just his role to provide. And like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so refreshing to hear people actually opening up, and moms, saying, if I could go back in time, I would choose differently. I fantasize about what
Mm-hmm.
life would be like without my kids. I love my
Mm-hmm.
kids, but I don't like them. All of these things that you can't
Mm-hmm.
say, but that is a real thought in the moment. And again, self expression, it's not our job to decide whether it's right or wrong. It's not our job to validate the experience. It's only our job to take it as it comes. That is self expression. Otherwise, it's censorship.
Yeah, and I think too, as a viewer reading other people's posts on that app, I think it teaches us to have a little more empathy for people too, and I think that's always a
Yeah.
beautiful thing,
Do you know what's been
And
incredible? And like throughout the 6 chats, there is an underlying thread of loneliness. Whether you are dating and
mm,
single and you're sharing some of your experiences and your self-doubts that maybe, you're never going to have the life that you thought you would, you're
mm-hmm,
never going to find your person, or you've been married for decades, and how lonely we all feel, whether that is in love or relationships or careers or whatever it may be. There's this undercurrent through so much of it. And it is wildly refreshing and comforting to see. Like, and even back to back comments you'll get that are polarizing. One of them was talking about how his wife does not stop talking and it makes him crazy. And it's yap, yap, yap. The next comment was, I am so alone. I haven't said a word out loud to anybody for 2 days. Those are two totally different experiences,
right. It's like
but
night and day.
people are feeling the same thing, really. It's
Yeah,
feeling
right,
like
right.
they're not being actually heard and seen. The one is feeling overwhelmed by his wife's voice. It's not real connection. It's just yammering at him. And the other one
Mm-hmm,
hasn't spoken to anybody. But there's this parallel, and you can see it in every different chat space.
mm-hmm.
And that is powerful. It reveals a lot about how we are living and how we're showing up in our lives.
Well, I think too, on the outside, no matter how fulfilling somebody's life really may appear, you don't know what somebody's feeling really deep
No,
down.
we don't
You
at
just
all.
don't know.
And that's,
Yeah.
you know what? And that's okay. We can't all walk around telling everybody all the garbage going on. I totally get that. But there is this
Right.
balance of, well, I hope that you are somewhere expressing that, then whether it is on a piece of paper, whether it's in the app,
Mhm.
or whether it's speaking to someone, whatever it may be. I just hope that you behind the scenes are taking care of that energy. This is a one person game, and it's just you and your thoughts, and it has really nothing to do with anybody else. And just for the sake of your betterment, how you feel in your life, I just hope that you are putting it somewhere, because every thought is valid. Every thought deserves to be recognized and moved. It doesn't need to be pushed down and filled with shame.
Right, right. And that brings me to a question for you as such a busy founder and mom
Mm,
and very, impressive human that I know you probably have
mm.
so much going on in your life. How do you handle your own stress other than your app, which I'm sure, like you said, you can use it every day. Other than your app, how do you manage your own stress?
I'm a yoga teacher also. I love yoga. That's like
Oh,
primarily how I like to move my body. I try to do that a few times a week. I try to just get out walking. I truly, I've learned in recent years since having kids that you have to move your body to move through that energy. You can't think yourself out of it. You can't think
yeah.
yourself out of anger and overwhelming and feeling overwhelmed and being resentful. You have to kind of move through it. So I've gotten really into that, but it's hard. Like, you can't even just go walking with little kids, right? Like, you got to either push the huge wagon, they're coming with you, and it's really annoying, or it's hard. I totally get it. We don't have
And they don't
family or
always want to
stuff.
just sit there and in their
No,
stroller or whatever, their wagon, and just sit there and enjoy the sunshine. They
but they
want to
also
crawl out
don't.
or they want
But they
snacks or
also don't want to walk with you at a decent speed. So you're like, what am
right.
I doing?
You're back
Um,
on their terms again.
but honestly, I just try to move my body in like a meaningful way, and I'll be honest, I get mad. I get really mad, and I just like kind of blow my top once in a while, and I I try to, before that point, redirect. And that is where
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from the app, because it used to be really quick responses, really quick anger, like even visceral sometimes. You have so much on the
Yeah.
go. And now, because I am moving energy throughout the day by expressing myself throughout the day, it doesn't get to that point so quickly, so easily. And I'm really proud of myself for that. So I guess what I do is what I helped bring to life. And that is acknowledging those moments. And it can be small. And let's use this example too. Like, not everything is going to mean the same thing to somebody else. Let's say you're driving to work and you get cut off. That's annoying, sure. And you're going to be frustrated. But depending on your
The road
life, and
rage.
totally, but beneath that, that could be no one sees me, no one respects me. Like, that's not a good thought to carry around. And then you go to the office and maybe someone takes the last coffee pod. Well, I'm always last. No one cares about me around here. I'm never going to be something, because that's how our thoughts work, right? So when we start to address them as they come up, we won't have this huge buildup, because thoughts are very much like physical objects. Like, if I hand you one and I say this represents, all of your self-doubt and insecurities, I hand you another one, says this represents, you're a terrible mother. I hand you another one, represents you married the wrong person. How many things can you hold
And it builds up.
until
Yeah.
until you throw them on the ground, you snap off and you get mad? And it's the exact thing, same concept with our thoughts. We can't hold them all the time. So we have to just
Right.
put them down. And if we start to look at it like that, this thought comes in, I'm never going to be what I thought I was going to be. Do I want to hold that in my body, or do I want to write it out quickly and release it? I want to release it.
And that's really what you're referring to when you mention, moving that energy, right?
Yes.
Getting out there, moving that energy, and being able to really just start to think a little more clearly.
I mean, you can feel it. I mean, if you, even if you talk about just getting something off your chest, that sensation. The second you say it, it's like, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You pop the lid off. You got it off your
Yeah.
chest. And that's what so many of us need to do. We don't need conversations. We don't need it to be a bigger deal than it is. We don't need to stew about it all day. We just need to, pop off in the moment. And now
Like
it's
you
a
said,
safe place to
another
do it.
conversation. Yes. And you got
Yes.
it out. You just like got it out of your mental space, and it's just out now. And it's
Just
just,
send it out
like you
quick
said.
and easy as you go. And that's what I mean by moving the energy. You feel it. And there is no better proof than that, when your entire body changes as a result of expressing yourself, or you've been stewing about something, or you have something that you want to say to somebody, but you don't want to say it to them. Like, that
Right,
sticks
right.
with you. It's in the back of your mind all day. It's,
You're like, man, I just have to get this off my chest.
yes, whether it's a
Yeah.
colleague or a friend or someone that really, made you mad, or a stranger, we stew and we stew and we carry it around. Well, now even you could go in the app and say everything you want to say to that person in there. Like, there are people that
Right. You
actually
let it go
call
in
out
there.
people by names, like, Kathy, please go get a new job. I'll help you look for jobs. George, if you steal another notebook, I'm telling the bosses, like, whatever it may be.
Right.
Bad
Right.
examples, but like, you can get personal in there, because we'll never know who these people
Are there any rules? Like,
So there
as far
are,
as,
yes, there are
yeah.
language filters in place to try and keep it just
Okay.
safe and accepting and welcoming. So any common swears, the best we could, like street slang, anything racist, anything homophobic, that will all be blocked, and you'll be encouraged just to find a new word to describe it. And it's funny, because
Okay.
I've received pushback on that too. Like, I should be able to say, shit, or the F word, or this
Right.
and that.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, at first it annoyed me, but now I actually kind of like it, because it's making me more aware of my word choices and forcing me to think about what I'm writing slightly more. And they actually said that it's refreshing for them to not fall back. So I'm glad people are enjoying the language filters. We just want to keep it, safe and accepting.
And I'm thinking of, let's say something political or something like that, right? Everybody has their, their moments of what they want, political or whatever it may be. Are they able to express themselves by really sharing how they feel with those blockers in there? Like, or Do you
Oh,
feel like
sure.
it's
Think about like
okay?
10 different variations of the F word. You can write all
Yeah.
that. We
I
can
can
get
probably think of 20 right now.
we can get really creative with our language.
How did you
No.
decide on like the six you said there's six chat categories
Yes.
currently, right? Do you what made you decide on those? And do you think you'll have to or want to add more? Or do you think that kind of covers them? And do you see one used more than the others?
So they came kind of authentically. Initially, we had a chat room for teens, which I still think is very valid, but it was in early testing. It was hard to engage with them, and the conversation seemed a little unpredictable because it was the only category that was demographic based as opposed to kind of experience based. And so we
Okay.
swapped that out. And so teens, absolutely, please. This is a huge group that needs to express themselves regularly, often. This is a very challenging time in life with lots of complex thoughts and feelings. Please join the app and use
What
it.
are the
So
guidelines for age?
we say
What's the
13
youngest?
up, and that's just again
Okay.
because you don't understand, you don't really know the content. We try to
Right,
again
right.
censor the language, but you don't know what people are going to say really. So 13 and
Sure.
up, we say, is the suggestion. But anything in life will fall within those categories. So again, mom, dads, work, love, brag, and vent. There really isn't an experience in life that doesn't fit into one of those. So I do think it's
Right, yeah. You're
well
gonna
rounded
find.
in that sense.
Mhm.
And then for all ages, like 13 plus, 13 to 100 can join in any group anytime. And so it's less age focused, which I think broadens it and makes it more accessible for everybody. But no, I don't see any change happening. I'm actually really
Yeah,
happy with how it is. I feel like it is what it's supposed to be right now. And a little fun
right.
fact, because I do not have a background again in any of this stuff, I knew what I
Any of the
wanted to
tech.
look like. And the app guys weren't really understanding the vision. So I made an Instagram story, hand drew the design, saved it, sent it to them, and they ended up using it. So the different chat areas are actually like my hand drawn like squiggle for them as an example
That's,
last year.
that's being an entrepreneur. I mean, that's the behind the scenes, right? And then like you said, you don't have the tech, expertise, but you
Not at
surround
all.
yourself around the people that can get you there, whatever that may be, right? And
And
just
what's
surround yourself
really
around those people.
and to give people some optimism in this entrepreneur journey, the right people seem to show up at the right time. People that you never thought that you would ever meet or know or cross paths with. If you are willing just to put one foot in front of the other, I'm telling you, these people come out of the woodwork and you had no idea that they were
That
there.
That is such a truth. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, especially when you are open-minded, right? And
Yes.
you just don't know. And sometimes, what do they say? Could these people come into your life? It could be for, a specific reason, whether, for a season, or it could be whatever it is. But you are so, so right. That is such a valid comment.
Yeah. So don't think you have to have it all planned out. I could not see the end result along the way at all. I just kept showing up. And if you have an idea or you have a thought that you truly feel needs to be brought to life, just show up one little step at a time. You do not have to see the whole thing. I mean, you're not going to get through a forest by looking at the other side. You have to walk through the trees.
You
You have
have
to
to go
trip on the
through.
branches. You have to fall down, and you just have to keep finding your way. And you
I love
will.
that. That gave me goosebumps.
Oh,
You saying that. It's so true. It's so true. And we're gonna, you make a lot of mistakes too along the way, but that's how you learn. You learn from that, and it's just so powerful.
and if we're
So
not
powerful.
willing to take risks and we're not willing to, fall and get back up and learn, then what are we doing?
Right,
Really, if,
right.
if you if you feel like you're being called to something in your heart and you don't do it, that is a disservice. Imagine if Steve Jobs felt that same way. Imagine if Mark
Oh my
Zuckerberg
goodness. No,
felt that
I
same
love
way. Like
yeah,
what
no,
could you
no.
like this, you don't know what could happen,
Yeah.
but you do know what will happen if you don't try. It's only money.
So
I
many
know.
regrets,
And that's
right?
coming from someone like, we don't have a ton of money, but it is only money. You can always make more. It is like the one renewable resource we can always get. We can't get more
That's right. There's
time.
other resources, right?
Time is of the essence, really. And if you think you have a higher purpose, you don't even have to understand it. Just do it. Just try it.
Just do it. Just every day,
Yeah,
even if it's just a little bit each day, will all add up.
it
Yes. Just don't
will.
give up. Yeah, just don't give up. So I know the tech aspect was a challenge for you. Do you feel that women have a harder time finding that support around the tech, like tech platforms? I feel like historically it's been a very male dominating area.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing more and more and more women just exploding the tech space, which is so, so cool and so
Yes.
exciting. But what support, I know you had mentioned, you had to draw out your diagram of what you really wanted your app to look like. Were the majority of the tech people more men that help build your app? And
They
what
yes.
challenges, yeah, did you find that a little more challenging just because men may think a little differently than what we do?
May. They do
I'm
very
being generous,
much.
right?
What is it, like the spaghetti brain and the waffle brain? Yes,
Yeah,
we
there.
think very differently. Women are the spaghetti, obviously, lots going on all the time.
All the
Men,
time.
there was not a single woman involved in this
Yeah.
project. Actually, there's probably a team of 10 or 12 by all the before it was said and done, and they were all men, yeah, in various locations, mostly in the States. Um, but I have to say they were wonderful, supportive from the
Very
get-go. I
open
never
minded. Hmm.
totally open-minded. I don't think that I never felt like they put me down or didn't make me feel welcome in the tech space whatsoever. I think
Right.
it was like talking to them was like trying to explain something to my husband sometimes. Like, there's just like, there's a disconnect. So I was like, let me draw this for you. But no, they were
Well, I'm sure they
all,
learned a lot from you, though. I'm sure they
I would
did.
hope.
They
You know what?
they
Do
could
you know
be
what's
users.
I know some of them actually are, which is cool. Um, what I found more so is that, of course, this is going to be a stereotype. This is just like speaking generally, is that a lot of these men that are working full time in tech do not understand what it's like to be primarily a stay at home mother with young children running a house and trying to do something on the side. So that is where the breakdown would come from. Like, you don't understand the demands and the amount of time that I have and the energy that I'm trying to scrape through for this. Like, I'm
Trying to
not in an
multitask
office. Yeah, like I'm not sitting in an office with 8 hours a day dedicated to this space.
with peace and quiet. Yeah.
And of course that could go for a woman also working, full time.
Sure.
Like, it's just the disconnect of not understanding what it's like to have young children and to be in that
Yeah.
space. Where they'd be
Right,
like, oh, well,
right.
let's just hop on a quick Zoom. And I'm like, well, I can't just hop on a quick Zoom right now. I'm like,
Unless you
we're,
want to hear all the chaos going on behind me, it's not really doable right now.
no, like we're at the park, someone fell down, someone needs a snack. Like, no, I can't just,
They're over
do
there
this.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get back to you at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah. It's just stand by, stand by. We'll get it done,
yes.
but just 1 second here. So what advice would you give to someone who has an idea? I know we touched about this briefly before, but
Yeah.
what advice would you give to somebody who feels like they really have a great idea and they're just waiting for the perfect time?
There is no perfect time. You don't know what you're doing. None of us do. But I would ask that you analyze what you're trying to do. What's the goal? What are you trying to do? Is it make money? Because that's going to change your business.
Hmm.
And are you
Hmm.
trying to help people? Are you trying to make a difference? Is this a solution to a problem that a lot of people encounter? If you're in it for you, I don't think that is the right place to start. And I think you're setting yourself up to fail in many ways, because I don't think you're going to be as fulfilled as you think you're going to be, because it's not quick and easy.
Hmm.
It's not, let me make this and then all of a sudden, I'm living on a beach on a yacht. Like, that's not how this works. And even this app, I mean, I will probably who knows what the future holds, but I'm not ever considering making the money back on this app. And it was a creative endeavor. It was a life project, something I felt called to help people. And so I would suggest you look at that. What is the end goal that you're looking for? And is there a market for that?
Right. And I think a lot of times too, when something is as purpose driven as your app, you just don't know what is possible and what's going to happen when you put it out there. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about, being an entrepreneur, and especially in a purpose driven space. It can eventually be a really big win-win, right? Across the board.
Yeah.
And when you're helping other people, it's such a feel good anyways, right? And you've accomplished something.
Yes.
So that makes you feel good, right? So yeah, I think that that piece of advice I think was really powerful that you just shared for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, there really is never a perfect time.
No. Never. I
You just
mean,
got to start.
there's never a perfect time to have kids. There's never a perfect time to get a puppy. There's never a perfect time to go on the trip.
No.
Like there's never a perfect time. I just
Right.
like start expressing yourself so you can start actually hearing that inner voice and pay attention to that. And if it says jump, then jump. Go for it. Do
Yeah,
it
and I think
because you
it's
don't
okay
know.
to be authentic, right? I think
Yeah.
just to be just have it come natural, be authentic, and it makes it so much easier. And as long as you can remove the negativity from your space where the judginess, right? It's okay. Everybody's, no matter who it is,
Yeah.
somebody's going to always have a judgment. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. But as long
Mhm.
as you feel good about what you're doing, that's really what's most important.
Totally. And one more thing I've realized too is that it's the people that are closest to you that actually will support you the least, which is funny. And
Oh,
I have heard
100%.
this in business that it's the strangers you have yet to meet that are going to be the ones that support you and help change your life, help change, grow this business. The people that you think are there for you and you think are going to be, your first people in line aren't. And that is very
Oftentimes, yes, you're
humbling.
a rude awakening. Yes, absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that brings it back to your app, even is that, like you said, there it's all anonymous.
Hmm.
Nobody has names. So you're just putting it out there. And when others are reading, those statements on the app, like I said, it really, I think it allows you to be more vulnerable towards other people, and maybe more,
Yes.
and maybe more supportive. Again, these are total strangers, right? More supportive when
Yes.
they see others that they don't know, but maybe they're going through the same thing, right? So I think, yeah, that is,
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head again on that one, is that the people that are going to support you oftentimes are total strangers, but you're going to feel
Yes.
so much better that they are your sense of support, whether it's one comment, whether they continue to follow you and continuously give you support, whatever it may be. But it's like sometimes those are your biggest cheerleaders that really motivate you to get to the next step.
Yeah. Like I've had friends, good friends that like they don't even ask me about the app. They don't ask me about it. They don't celebrate it. Like it's just like a non-existing thing to them. And I'm like, this is a huge component of my life.
You're
I've
like
poured in so much time and energy. Like if it was the other way around, I'd be like,
sacrifices,
how's it going? What's the latest? Oh,
right?
what podcast are you doing this week? Whatever it might be. And so that has been really interesting to me. And I've actually like had to work through some of that on the app as well,
Well, that
about
was
how
going to be actually my
disappointing
next.
it can be.
Yes. How, like, do you like, because it's such a common thing that, you're building a business, or you've built a successful business, or you've even take away the business aspect, but it could be you're celebrating something or whatever it is, and you
Yes.
put it out there, and, Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. And then you have, say you have 1,000 friends, right, on those, and you get like 2 likes. And it's like, but then all the other likes are from people you don't even know. And it's
Yeah.
like, why is that? Like, you wonder, why is that? Do they just keep scrolling? Or are they just so into their own lives? Or do you think there's a sense of competition? Like, it's just so interesting, like why
I've
people do
heard
that.
that the things you do highlight what others aren't doing.
Yeah,
And that can
yeah,
be
yeah.
hard. sometimes.
Yeah.
That's not to
Yeah.
say, oh, look at us. I mean, but
Yeah. Right.
we're showing up, we're doing something,
We're
right?
showing up. Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, I think, well, everybody was born with like gifts and talents and like a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but you just got to get there. And, you know, yours
Yeah.
is not going to be mine, but we're along the same mindset that we're
I
trying
still
to
want,
grow. We're trying to step up. This is what
yes.
we want. This is what we feel called to expand on in our lives. And if
Right.
everybody did that, I think people would be more supportive because, you know, they'd be feeling
Yeah.
more fulfilled themselves. And again, so how do we get there? How do we get to those voices? Well, it comes down to self acceptance and just being able to say what we want to say. Like, it sounds so trivial, but it really is life changing once we start to adjust
Mm-hmm.
the way we think and the things that we say and how we say them.
And I like to think that if, anybody, a dear friend of mine or a family member or even if I'm friends with them on socials and if they're accomplished something and I feel like I'd be the first one to like give them a thumbs up and, if share their
Yes.
information so maybe they can get more followers or whatever. But yeah, it's so surreal just how so many
It's
people don't do that.
It's because you're doing it though. Because you're
Yeah,
doing it.
you're
You're
right. Yeah.
happy, you're fulfilled, you have a project, you have your thing. So it's
Right.
easier to give that. I too, I love seeing people do stuff. Like it's
It's so
fascinating.
exciting.
It is.
Yes.
And I want to celebrate that. And I think it's so cool when people tap into these ideas and they're willing to follow along and they go all in life. Like
Mhm.
that is invigorating and
It's
infectious.
addictive.
So I
Mhm.
think that sometimes it can be hard if you know you are not paying attention to some of those voices and callings in your life. It can be hard to support other people that are.
They need to
But
find your app.
exactly. And then you need to start working through some of that and you will find your gifts and
Yes.
talents. But all of that to say that if you are striking out on this venture and you are trying to create something on your own, just be prepared for that. Be prepared to not
Yeah.
have, you know, everyone clapping and rolling out the red carpet at the next family dinner and
Yeah.
wow, look at you go. Like
It's
it's
not
not how
all
it
butterflies and
works.
rainbows, right? Yeah. It's you
Yeah.
gotta it really forces you to have some thick skin for sure. So
Yeah.
ending our episode on a fun note, I have some this or that questions for you.
Oh, okay.
So these are just really quick, what comes to mind, and get to know you a little bit better on a personal side. Are we ready?
Okay. Ready.
Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird, 100%.
Early bird. All right. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. That's that's interesting because I feel like so many more have become tea drinkers versus coffee lately. So you're just another tea. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that.
I love coffee, but it gives me the shakes. It gives me like too much adrenaline. I get too strong of reactions because I'm all fired up. Tea just keeps me a little more level.
It's a little more calming, right?
Yeah.
All right. The next is reality TV or docuseries.
Probably docuseries.
Okay, yeah. Uh, a long walk or just a quiet time to reset.
Quiet. Always take the
Yeah,
quiet. Absolute
the quiet.
silence with no devices, no noises, no
No
anything.
children.
Lock me in the room alone.
Give me my safe space. This is an interesting one. Would you rather have a celebrity or an expert as your dream podcast guest?
Expert. You got to learn.
Yeah,
I don't
hands
care that
down.
everyone knows what your name is. What
Yeah.
do you know?
Yeah.
Teach
Give
me.
me the educational aspect. Yes.
Yeah.
And the last but not least, Instagram or TikTok? What's your daily go to or another
I'm a
other than your app?
hardcore Instagrammer. Personally, it's just like thousands of photos of my kids now. But I will say on this endeavor, the air out endeavor, my heart definitely belongs to TikTok. I find way more interaction and fun on there and response on TikTok. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of
TikTok
leaning
is just
that way these
anything
days.
goes. Yeah. TikTok
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. It took me a while to learn it. I love following it. And it's just, oh my goodness, it's
Yeah.
so fun. And again, it's educational as well, but then you also have some really funny TikTok pages. But yeah, the world that we live in now, so many choices.
Yes, just don't doom scroll for too long, because then you'll have to go
Oh,
and air out and talk
yeah.
about your doom scrolling and how you're wasting your life and how you feel terrible. Because, yeah, it's a trap we
Right.
all fall into. It's too
It's
easy.
a, it's an easy trap to fall into for sure. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun, and it's definitely the only app I've ever heard of that is such an amazing outlet for somebody. And I want to join it. I'm going to join it. So I think this is going to
Yes.
be, extremely successful. It sounds like it already is on, the path of being extremely
Mhm.
successful. So, and it's fairly new. So congratulations to all your hard work for really, and giving, people this outlet to,
Thank you.
just be able to be, a better person or feel better about themselves. And you just never know. I mean, it could change somebody's life. It could save somebody's life.
Yeah, you did. That's the thing. You never know. And thank you
You
for the
never
kind
know.
words and the support. And I am proud of where we're at. And I'm just excited to see where things go. I mean, we're just a baby. It's just the beginning.
Yes.
And it is
Infancy
really
stages.
exciting. Yes.
Yeah. So everybody go download the Air Out app, and just have fun with it. Right. And
Yes.
I think it's, again, going to change a lot of lives. But thank you again for joining us today. This has been so much fun, and my pleasure to meet you and learn more about even your entrepreneur stage of founding
Well, thank you. I love what you're doing. So you keep up the good work too.
it. Thank you so much.